Today we're going to work on midpoint, and I started with a very simple graph, and I have given that point A is at 1, 3, and I've stated that point B is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma 3. And I want to find the midpoint of segment AB. So typically what you would do is midpoint is literally in the middle. So in a picture like this, it's really simple. I know I'm still going to be at 3 high. It's got to be on this line. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So half of 5 is 2.5. So I can go 1, 2, my half here. So I know that my midpoint is 1, 2, 3.5, comma 3. Very straightforward, and maybe I'm going to label that midpoint maybe just M. When I have a midpoint, that also means I've now created 2 congruent segments. So I know that the length of AM is equal to the length of MB. Or I may state the segment AM is congruent to the segment MB. So now we're going to go try a little differently. What happens when we take our picture and we turn our segment on an angle? It's a little bit different. So how is this going to work? So we have A is going to be at 1, comma 2, and we know B is going to be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, comma 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So same kind of situation. I counted and then I cut in half. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 2.5. So 1, 2.5. And then I'm going to go up. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means 2. So if I go up 1, 2, I'm going to come across and find out that there is my midpoint. And we're going to call that midpoint C. So we have it a little bit different this time. So the midpoint of our segment AB this time is going to be 1, 2, 3.5, comma 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, we have AC will equal the length CB. And we know that segment AC is congruent to segment CB. And we know that these 2 segments are congruent to each other. So we can do it counting, but what happens when we have larger numbers? What happens if I want to know what the midpoint between, so we'll ask our question, find the midpoint if point F is at negative 15, comma 6, and point G is at 22, comma negative 18. Okay? So what's the midpoint between those 2? That's a lot to graph. And on a test or a quiz, you are not going to have time to do that. So we need to figure out a different route. So let's come back up here and notice something. To go from A to B, all I did was go from here to here and cut it in half. From here, I went from here to here and cut it in half. So to do this correctly, you're going to maybe want to subtract. So 6 minus 2, cut it in half is 2. But that means that you have to account for this already being up. So instead, we add. We add the 2. We add the 6, which is 8. Cut it in half, and that gives us our 4 over here. The formula for midpoint is that the x value of midpoint is x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And the y value of the midpoint is y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Remember, when we divide like this, we're actually doing an average. Okay, we took two values, we're dividing by the number of them, that's an average. So, x1 and y1 would be our first point. x1, y1. x2 and y2 means our second point. x2, y2. So let's plug this in. The midpoint is represented by negative 15 plus 22 over 2. Negative 15 plus 22 is 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. Y sub m, y1 is 6 plus negative 18 divided by 2. That's negative 12 divided by 2, which is negative 6. So our midpoint, we'll call him H, is going to be given by 3.5, negative 6. Stop, and does that make sense? Think about how, if I have this sketch, I know that negative 15, 6 is about here, somewhere. G is 22, negative 18, somewhere. H is 3.5, negative 6. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Doesn't require me to graph exactly. I know that I should be between them on the x's, which I am, should be between them on the y's, which I am. So if I were to graph it on a graph on the test, I would find that it worked. All right, so that is just finding the midpoint. Use your formula. We're expecting you on tests and quizzes to algebraically show us how to do this. Do not skip steps. You're always tempted to not write the formula. Biggest tricks here, do not forget these are pluses. Plus, 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 and plus. Do not forget it. For some reason, some of you guys like to change that sign. Don't do it. You're going to end up with the wrong answer. Good luck on finding the midpoint of a segment given its endpoint.